Hello and welcome to another video. My name's Carrie, and I'm today doing a truth about parenting video, and if you haven't seen my others, then do check them out. I try and do these once a week. So I was going to talk today about feeling under pressure, and it's quite normal when you become a parent to feel pressured in a lot of ways, because there's so much that comes with being a parent, and I find that there's days where I just needed like 5 minutes just to get my mind together. But now when I look back, I think it's because I made it into a struggle than what it needed to be. And now I find that spending time with my son now is a lot more kind of easy living. And as the thing when it comes to being a parent is, once you get to that place where you feel really comfortable, you know, they're doing as they're told, they're happy playing, they're you know, happy-go-lucky, that's when you know you've done an alright job. Because Henry is, you know, is not an overly naughty child in any way, and I don't like to use that word, naughty, because a lot of the time when Henry would lash out, for example, it was actually communicating to me how he was feeling about it. Not necessarily to be aggressive, but to say, look, there's something that's bothering me here, and I don't know how to express myself. And that's quite common with kids, because I found it the same thing when I was a kid, that sometimes you just needed to be a child. And I think sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves because of the expectation there is when becoming a parent, that we don't actually sit down and enjoy being a parent, because we, you know, focus so much on the struggles. And if you notice my blog post on my site, the Parenting Ventures Tips and Tricks .wordpress.com, you will see that I've talked a lot about struggling, and that's because I want to show a true picture of what it's really like to be a parent. And there are times I'm stressful, but I think sometimes it becomes stressful because we instantly create this movie of it not going well. You know, like taking my son to school, bringing him back from school, how Henry would feel, and now he goes to an after school club some days in the week, and you never really know how them things are going to go until they start. But all I would say is, you know, find your feet as a parent like they find their feet as a child. So, you know, go through all the things that you absolutely love about parenting. And I think the one thing I love is that I love making my son Henry laugh, and he loves making me laugh. And we do, when he was over at the weekend, that's a lot of what we were doing. We were just laughing, you know. And getting that from that, I know that I've done, and along with, you know, other people's help, and like his father, you know, as a contributor to that. He is so much more, and there he's less high maintenance now, which I'm liking, because the kids can become high maintenance because they're learning their way as a child. You know, there's lots of things that we forget about when we become adults, and when we start to have kids, we start to see the world in their eyes. And for example, you know, kids, you know, will they either want to play outside or they don't. Henry loves playing with like tokens, like little like drafts, what they're called, when you play drafts, you know, the little pieces, and he uses that to play Tipping Point. That's his favourite quiz show on telly, is Tipping Point, and he absolutely loves it. And we have to watch it quite a lot, along with things like Topsy and Tim, Peppa Pig, pork scratching, as I like to call it, because, you know, kids always want to jump in muddy puddles when they've got their uniform on, and when they've got different clothes on, they don't. So that's why I would like to, I've got a bone to pick with that bloody pig when it comes to parenthood, because the only time kids want to jump in the mud puddles is when they're in their school uniform, and then you're having to stick it all in the wash, And that was the day that you didn't bring out their Wellington boots. They've got their school shoes, so they end up getting drenched. So I've got a lot to complain about when it comes to Peppa Pig. But when it comes to parenting, I find that now I'm a lot more flexible in the way I deal with things. That it's not becoming a struggle now. I love my son to bits. He can be very, he's a very emotional child sometimes. And when he can't watch his tablet, he often he's like, well, what have I done wrong? And I say, no, you haven't done anything wrong, Henry. It's just that it needs to be charged out for you to use it. We're not taking it away. And I think sometimes he worries about that when times on charge, it's being taken away from him, and it's not. Because he's going to get it back, but he's got to wait for it to charge, And little things like that, which makes me see my son. He's a very emotional young kid, and so it's important that I, I spend time with him and not worry so much about work when he's here. And since doing that and not having so many things to think about, it has made our relationship a lot stronger now. And I'm not putting myself, I need to get this done, or I better get this and that done. I'm in a place now where I've actually managed my life to the point where I've got that balance now. And so that's the key. When it comes to pressure, is find that narrow ground where you feel, you know what, actually, I haven't done a bad job, I'm doing okay. He's smiling and he's happy, and that's what you got to concentrate on. No kids want to really do homework, but it has to be done. But so you may add it into there. But the one thing that I stay away from is making things out to be bigger than what they are, And I've stopped doing that. And since I've done that, we are a lot more interactive. He did some lovely reading with me over the weekend, and his pronunciations of words is phenomenal. And he's just, when you get to that point, you think, I haven't done a bad job. So, next time you don't give yourself credit, give yourself credit. Look at your child, observe them. Do they look miserable? No, Henry doesn't look miserable. Sometimes he misunderstands, but I think we've all done that as kids. We're not got the hang of something, or we're not aware of something, because your awareness comes with each age, as I see it, and when you become an adult, you see things differently, and then when you become a parent, you see things very differently. So it's all about growing as a parent as well as growing, them growing as a child. So, take the pressure off and never worry, because we've all been there where our eyes feel like they're going to fall on the floor at any time, but you find a way of dealing with it, and you find a way of coming out of that mindset of, I'm a terrible parent, I don't know what I'm doing. Parenthood should never be underestimated, but you can unleash, you can let go of the pressure by saying to yourself, well, look at your child. Just spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes just looking at your child, and they'll soon let you know if they're not happy. So I think we need to, give ourselves more credit as parents, because I don't think we give ourselves enough. So that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. And if you've got any questions or anything that you would like me to talk about in terms of parenting, then feel free to leave comments below. And also check out my blog, Parenting Adventures Tips and Tricks .wordpress.com. And I have another one called The Parenting Adventures The Birth of My Son, wordpress.com. So you check out those two, and take care. I wish you well, and see you next time. Bye bye.